Something different for you guys today. NFL Jeopardy should be tons of fun. Amir is joining the show. If you enjoy, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. As you see on your board, we have career paths. Of course, we have Super Bowl MVPs, jersey numbers, teams by colleges, and franchise leaders. I'm assuming that is in the statistical apartment. Your team one, I'm team two. Whenever you're ready, Amir, kick it off for us.
So for my first one, I'm gonna go ahead and go towards franchise leaders for 300.
Right where the cursor was, Panthers all-time sack leader. One answer comes to mind as a Bears fan of the early 2010s. But your answer here, who comes to mind?
Yeah, the only one that could really be the all-time leader. It's a newer franchise and a guy who was consistent throughout his career and physically imposing. I'm gonna go ahead and say Julius Peppers.
Hall of Fame level career. I would have kind of been mad if you didn't know that. But that is a guy that I was a big fan of. Of course, I was a big fan of those Bears teams with Urlacher and Devin Hester and Brandon Marshall, all those guys in the early 2010s. But his best football, like you mentioned, was there with the Panthers, and they are a newer franchise. So checks out. But you have the board here. So, of course, where would you like to go next?
So next, honestly, I would go ahead and go and start off easy. I'm gonna go ahead and go teams by colleges for 100.
Teams by colleges. I like this one. So the quarterback, now this was made last month, so this should be up to date. West Virginia, Ole Miss for the receiver, and Kansas State. The running back is Michigan State, and the tight end is Iowa. I know this immediately because
Yeah.
of one simple position, but I assume you know the same.
Yeah, the quarterback, West Virginia, it's only one quarterback that started at West V that I could think of. That's Gino. And, Ole Miss, that's DK. And Kansas State, Tyler Lockett, and Kenneth Walker as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and say the Seattle Seahawks.
The Seattle Seahawks. Um, you're good there, so you can keep going if you want.
I can keep going. Okay, I'll go ahead and go. Um,
I don't know if that's the best way to do
Honestly,
it. Maybe we'll change that here on the second board.
okay.
But I said, why not? If you get it right, you can keep going.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go, a little harder, just so I don't keep going and choosing the easy ones. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and go franchise leaders for 500.
Franchise leaders 500. The Packers all-time leading receiver. I know this. Wondering if
Mm.
you do, but go ahead.
So the Packers all-time leading receiver, you know, there's one person I want to go, but I think he's too recent. Um, I'm sure it's not a tight end at all. And I'm about to say, obviously, you know this. I mean, you're a big Bears fan, so and I feel like I should still know this, but um, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and guess. I don't know if this is a shot out the park right here, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Greg Jennings.
My question to you is, are we going to be able to do stealing? So since you got it wrong, I'm assuming,
We
can
can,
we steal?
we can, yeah.
I'm going to go Sterling Sharp. Of course,
Mm.
Donald Driver.
Oh,
Oh,
it was
okay.
Donald
I got it
Driver.
wrong too.
Wow.
So that was
I was
what,
thinking about
500?
Driver too, but I didn't think it was Driver.
Oh wow, I thought it was Sterling Sharp back in the day. So 500. That's gonna take you all the way down, and then of course me as well. Wait, I don't think I lose points for stealing. Regardless, it's my turn. Back on the clock. I'm gonna just try and get on the board here. So we're gonna go Super Bowl MVPs for 300. I should know this. The 2015 Super Bowl MVP. Now the only thing I'm worried about is this 2014, 2015, or 2015, 2016. I'm gonna assume it's 2014, 2015. I didn't know if it was 2015, 2016, which was when that season of Cam Newton happened. But I guess they're going. I was a year off. So Von Miller. Four, of course, that was a great Super Bowl. Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
That would be easier if they went by the actual Super Bowl numbers, I think, in my eyes. Super Bowl 50, we would have instantly knew Cam Newton versus the Broncos. And Von Miller, of course, dominated that game from start to finish. But I thought that was an easy one. It's not. I'm down 300. You're up on the board yet again here. Where would you like to go?
I'm gonna go teams by colleges at 300.
Teams by colleges at 300. Michigan State's the quarterback. USC. Tulane are the wide receivers. Texas is the running back. And Florida is the tight end. I don't think there's. I think this is pretty simple, but go ahead.
This is the Atlanta Falcons.
The Atlanta Falcons put you back into the positives. This is really annoying, by the way, that I have to reset it every single time. Regardless, you're back up here. You're back in the positives. Where do you want to go next to keep it going?
Since we haven't touched this yet, I'm gonna go career pass for 200.
Career pass for 200. Quarterback. They went from San Francisco, I'm assuming, to Kansas City. Of course, I'm assuming, I don't know if this is just current or all time or whatever the case is, but your thoughts here.
San
I
Francisco to
know this
Kansas.
immediately just because it's one of those weird jerseys that doesn't make sense. It's like what? It's like seeing Dwayne Wade in a Cavs jersey. It just doesn't sit right.
I mean, well, the thing is, I can think of only wait, San Fran to Kansas City, and it's a quarterback.
Now there's also another guy that I think just came to mind. So there's
Yeah.
two different guys. There's one more modern and there's one definitely back in the day, but I'll
I'm
give you
about to
guys
say
both in a
because
second.
I'm about to say because there's two, that comes to mind. Obviously one's a bona fide Hall of Famer, and the other one is recent. But the recent one played with the team after that, and it's only one that really makes sense to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Joe Montana.
That's the answer that I was hoping you went with, and I'm gonna assume that's right. Yes, okay, because
Okay.
Alex Smith also had that career path,
Yeah.
and he was was a good quarterback, but of course not on the level of Joe Montana. You're dominating so far. Yeah, you got like 3 or 4 questions right. I have yet to do that, but your thoughts here, or I guess your selection.
Wait. Okay. So I'm at 200 points.
Yes, you're at 200 points. I'm at minus 300.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go. I don't want to keep getting in the negatives here. I want to go 500 again to make it fun, but I really do not want to get bumped all the way back down again. So I'm gonna kind of go. I feel like 200 might be a little low. So I'm gonna go ahead and go. This is
If you go
tough.
200, it would save you from going completely negative.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and just go 200 and go teams by colleges.
Teams by colleges 200. Okay. The quarterback's Wyoming, and I think that's pretty much all you need. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I mean, Wyoming's only one quarterback. That's Josh Allen, the running back. I mean, that's Cook. Florida State. I mean, that's Keon Coleman. I mean, Utah. That's Knox, and then
Not Knox. That's Kincaid.
or Kincaid. I meant.
Yeah, yeah,
Kincaid. It's the Buffalo Bills.
yeah, absolutely. Buffalo Bills. Get you back on the clock here. There we go. Again, this is very annoying. Here we go. Oh, there we go. So I'm on Zoom. If you're on Zoom, my thing was blocking that thing the entire time. Amir, you're back on the clock. Where are you back on the clock, right? It's like we're drafting here. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go ahead and go career pass for 400. This is definitely gonna be tough,
Career paths
especially.
400. The running back went from San Francisco to Indy to Miami, Buffalo, and then the Jets. I think he also had another stop along the way.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I think he did as well. It's one running back that comes to mind. A guy who had a lot of longevity that played in the league for a long time. Um, and I'm gonna go ahead and say Frank Gore.
You're killing it so far. Frank Gore. Of course, I had a little bit of hope you weren't gonna get him, but of course, we talk all the time, so he's one of those names that is, every once in a while pops up. But you're back up. You're
Oh,
up
wait, my wait
700
my
points.
my score didn't go up for some reason.
You said what? Your score didn't go up?
Yeah, it's still at 400.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm a fraud Jeopardy host.
He's trying to rig the Jeopardy. All right,
Look,
honestly,
I need to do a better job at rigging it because I'm down friggin' 1100 points. But here you're back
um,
up.
I guess since I've went like 4 times in a row, I'm gonna go and go Super Bowl MVPs for 500.
Super Bowl MVPs for 500. The 2000 Super Bowl MVP,
I'm gonna go ahead and I want to say this is Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Let's see if the thing wants to work with me here. Ray Lewis, of course. This was when the Ravens dominated the Giants in the Super Bowl. Giants and Kerry Collins shouldn't have been there. But
Okay,
of course,
so it's going
I
to
believe it's 2000, 2001. I believe,
okay,
yeah, because the 2015 was 2015, 2016.
okay,
Even though that's weird because the Super Bowl, takes place in the following year, like at the end of the season. But regardless,
right.
I will take anything that I can get there.
I'll go jersey numbers as well. I'll go jersey numbers for 300.
For 300, what number is Khalil Herbert?
Khalil
Um,
Herbert is 24.
24 is the correct answer, unfortunately. Um, I was hoping that you guessed something else, but that was a great pull from you. You're back on the clock, dominating.
I'm gonna go career pass for 500.
Career paths for 500, if my thing wants to work with me here. The big one, tight end, went from Jacksonville to Green Bay to Chicago. Of course, I know who this is, but I can't give you any clues at this point.
Jacksonville, Green Bay, and Chicago. Man, man, man.
I'm hoping you
Who
don't get this because this is something that if I don't get this one right, I'm going to leave and I'm just going to turn strictly to the host and I'm going to ask you the remaining questions. All right.
who the hell got drafted in Jacksonville as a tight end?
I mean, Evan
I'm
Ingram,
blanking right.
but of course,
Um,
Evan Ingram didn't play for two of these teams,
that's what I'm saying. The only person I could think of was Evan Ingram, and I'm like,
but he got drafted by the Giants even. He wasn't even a Jaguar.
which is crazy. So Jacksonville, Green Bay, and Chicago, and so he ended his career in Chicago. Um, it can't be recent, I don't think. I mean, honestly, I'm stuck here. I'm gonna have to pass.
You're gonna have to pass. It is Mercedes Lewis. Dude is still playing. If I'm not mistaken, it's Mercedes Lewis. There we go.
Mm.
I'm finally in the positives here. But again, 39 years old, dude. He's as old as LeBron, and he's still playing NFL. He's actually gonna make the roster this year in Chicago. As crazy as that sounds. But I just saw him. The only reason it popped in my head so quickly is because I saw him with Rodgers the other day. But I'm back on the clock. Finally, let's go to teams by colleges. I'm pretty good with the colleges, so if I get this wrong, then I don't know what's wrong with me. Quarterback Purdue, wide receiver Clemson, wide receiver NC State, running back from Georgia, and the tight ends from Georgia as well. The only quarterback from Purdue that I can think of is Aiden O'Connell, and of course, wide receiver from Clemson. Um, I guess would be Hunter Renfrow. Of course, he played there with Deshaun Watson. The running back Zamir White is from Georgia. Brock Bowers from Georgia as well. That's weird that they didn't put Devontae Adams' college on here,
That is
which
crazy.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that they didn't necessarily put the star players, but I will go with the Las Vegas Raiders. Finally puts me up here. I promise I'm not a fraud here. And let's go back to the well that kind of screwed me before. Jersey numbers. Who wears number 18 on the Cardinals? That's got to be Marvin Harrison Jr. But I'm not confident in anything at this point. But I will go MHJ. Right? Okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. Finally puts me up, and Jeopardy is such a funny game. Let's do something that I haven't done, and let's go back to actually, you know what? Teams by colleges. I like my colleges. Quarterback is from NC State. East Washington is the wide receiver. Wide receiver is also from Liberty. We have a running back from Oklahoma and a tight end from Arkansas. The Patriots quarterback is Jacoby Brissett. Is it Jacoby Brissett in the Patriots? The running back Oklahoma, Ramondre went to Oklahoma. It's the Patriots. It's the Patriots. I apologize. I should have known that from the NC State. But what a pull! What a pull here.
That's a good pull.
The Patriots, of course, were one of those teams that should have immediately popped off the page, but sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. Super Bowl MVPs. I have a bit of a lead, so let's go after. You know what? I'll leave the 500 for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go Super Bowl MVPs for 100. The 2001 Super Bowl MVP. So, of course, the 2002 Super Bowl. This would be Tom Brady, if I'm not mistaken, because, of course, it's Brady or Adam Vinatieri. But I will go with, oh, okay, it's the GOAT, Tom Brady. I think we can both agree with that statement. Let's go 200. 2005 Super Bowl MVP. So, this would be the 2005 2006, which I believe was the Steelers and the Seahawks year, which if that's the case, it would be Ben Roethlisberger, and it's not. because obviously I'm not a Steelers fan. It's Hines Ward, which I do remember that. So of course my apologies. He had that amazing double pass with Randall L. But you're back on the clock. Of course, you have some work to do here, but you have some big hitters that you need to hit.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go career pass for 300.
Career Pats 300, a quarterback that went from San Fran, this is funny, to Kansas City to Washington.
This one is Alex Smith, 100%.
Absolutely. Alex Smith, of course, you got your points there. I'll try not to forget, right? Back on the clock. Got some work to do. Where are you going?
So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and honestly, I'm gonna clean the board. I'm gonna go career pass for 100.
Absolutely. I like the career Pats. This one's pretty obvious. The receiver that went from LSU to the Giants to the Cleveland Browns to the Rams, Ravens, Miami Dolphins. He is, of course, it might be his last season. So hopefully you don't get this one wrong.
Yeah, so this one right here, it's from Odell, right?
Okay. I,
Yeah,
I, I clicked it early because I knew you knew.
yeah.
Well, go ahead.
So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and be kind of conservative. I'm gonna go ahead and go franchise leaders for 100.
The Chiefs' all-time leading receiver. I have a funny name that comes to mind, but we'll see where you go.
So for the Chiefs' all-time leading receiver, I want to go towards Tyreek Hill, obviously, but he wasn't there long enough, and so I'm gonna go to somebody who's consistent and probably has the greatest connection with this quarterback we've ever seen, and so I'll go Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, of course, true Swifty. He's been helping her out all off season. You're up here.
And so next, I'm gonna go ahead and stay on that same track, the same where I'm gonna go franchise leaders for 200.
The Steelers' all-time leading rusher. They've had a lot of lead running backs here, but I think
Yeah,
you can get this one.
yeah. Honestly, the Steelers, have had a lot of really good running backs, but it's one that comes to mind, or really, it's
Actually,
two.
there's two.
Yeah, I'm about to say, there's two. One played in a more run dominant era. The other one played in a more pass dominant era, but he was dominant in that
Hmm.
pass dominant era. But I'm gonna go ahead. This is honestly tricky. I'm gonna go ahead and go Jerome Bettis here.
Jerome Bettis. It's
I,
Franco
I
Harris.
I knew it was Franco Harris too, and
Of course,
I'm
we
a
were also
fraud.
throwing around the idea of Le'Veon Bell as well. He was such a dominant running back. The Steelers have never had like a committee like they do now. It's always kind of been like a lead running back, but they're one of those sneaky franchises that have put together a decent couple of running backs. I will stay on that same path. I'll go franchise leaders with the Rams all-time leading receiver. It's either Isaac Bruce or it's Torrey Holt. I'm going to go Torrey Holt. It's Isaac Bruce. Okay, so again, both guys were on the greatest show on turf. But the good thing about that, it makes it interesting. I'm only up 300, and now there's only 4 and 500s left. Amir, where are you going to go? Super Bowl MVPs? We haven't done too well on that because we're trying to figure out what year they're actually talking about. And then, of course, the jersey numbers.
I'm gonna go ahead and go towards jersey numbers for 400.
Jersey numbers for 499 on the New Orleans Saints. Good luck.
The number 9 on the on the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the thing is, like I was saying earlier, some of these questions need to be in the 500s. Some of these questions, has to be pushed to 100. And and this is Cam Jordan.
Chase Young. I think Cam Jordan is 96 if I'm not mistaken. But
Chase Young.
that's gonna take you down there. Uh, it's so Chase Young, yeah, of course, a new signee there in New Orleans, and I didn't steal because I keep forgetting that that is an option here in this game. Let's close out this one. Try and do this one together. Who is number 30 on the Commanders? I think this is Cameron Curl. Could be wrong. Could be now Austin Eckler, who is now on the Commanders. I can't remember if Cameron Curl actually returned to the Commanders this offseason. But it's either Cameron Curl or, of course, a guy in Austin Eckler. Where do you want to try and bet on?
I was gonna say Austin Eckler. I mean, because he's new, and I'm assuming that I'm gonna say I'm assuming he's gonna get his number 30 because he's gonna be now the franchise running back temporarily. So I'm gonna say Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler. Amir, that was an abysmal performance. Let's see if we can do better. All right, we found a board here, and this one is decades, so it should be tons of fun. Of course, 2020s, 2010s, 2000s, 90s, and then NFL coaches. So again, this should be up to date. Amir, I will give you free will to pick wherever you want to start.
Honestly, I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna go 2020s for 300.
2020s for 300. And again, I have no idea who was on this, but who was on the cover of Madden and of Madden 21 and ultimately was the MVP that year. That was his first MVP, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, actually, yeah, it was. Now he's a two-time guy. What's your answer here?
So Madden 21, a game that me and you both kind of have a iffy feeling about. It was one of those games that we used
That
to
was
rage
ass.
at a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go and say Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is the right answer. Your team won. I will be team two. And if that's a 300 question, I think we should probably take care of this board pretty easily. But go
You
ahead.
want to just you want to just go we just basically switch each
Yeah,
one?
we can switch. We can switch.
Okay.
Just if those are going to be the questions. But let's go into it. Who for NFL 300 2010s? Who's the center for the Eagles and has a Super Bowl ring in his socks? Of course, that is off the New Heights podcast. Jason Kelsey. Amir, I'm a little bit afraid this one might be a bit too easy, but who knows? Maybe there's some
Yeah.
sleeper questions down the board. But go ahead, you're back up.
I'm gonna go ahead and go NFL coaches for 200.
NFL coaches for 200. What coach just won the Natty and was signed by the Chargers? Yeah, these I think it might be a little
Wow.
bit too easy.
Oh yeah, this is the fraud himself. The guy that had binoculars in the crowd stealing plays. This is Jim Harbaugh.
I'm gonna just leave it at that. James Jim Harbaugh. I didn't know that was his first name.
Wow.
I will match you. You know what? I'm gonna go crazy. We're gonna go 90s for 400. Let's see what we can do here. Of course, once I get my Zoom thing out of the way. What team was so good in the 90s but never won a championship in NFL and franchise history? Of course, that is the one team in history that went to four straight Super Bowls. They lost to all of the NFC East teams, except for one, but they lost to the Redskins at the time. Of course, the Cowboys twice, and the New York Giants, the Buffalo Bills, of course.
Yep.
They were really good, and of course, I don't know why the answer is not popping up, but I will give myself the points for that. There it is, the Buffalo Bills. That dude can't spell. Whoever made the board, you're back up. Where do we want to go? I think again we're gonna fly through this one pretty quickly.
I'm gonna go ahead and go 2020s for 400.
2020 for 400. What safety has the nickname the Honey Badger?
Tyrann Matthew.
Tyrann
These are
Matthew.
very easy.
Go ahead.
I said these are very easy.
Yeah, I'm not complaining so far. We'll just go 500s if these are going to be the level of difficulty that we are going to have. Who was drafted in the 2023 draft by the Titans and was expected to be drafted in the first round? That is the dude that likes mayo in his coffee, a guy that was with Gia. Of course, I forgot her last name. That's Will Levis, a guy that yeah, I guess, I mean, hey, we're waiting for him to take that next big leap. Maybe he could be the franchise guy for them there in Tennessee. Of course, we will talk about our power rankings next week, at least our preseason ones. But Amir, go ahead.
I'm gonna go 2010s for 500.
2010's 500. What Colts quarterback retired early? I don't think it was because of the fans. I think it was more so because of his health and the fact that
Yeah.
in his young career, they never gave him an offensive line. But of course, very talented quarterback, maybe one of the most talented we've seen. But what's your answer here?
Yeah, he definitely retired, because of his health, and this is still one of the most disappointing, reaction by fans I think I've ever seen, watching football, and that's Andrew Luck.
Let's just say that he was still playing, Amir. Do you think the Colts have another Super Bowl by this point?
Honestly, I don't know, because I think they kind of needed, a franchise guy to kind of leave, for them to kind of like wake up and realize like, hey, listen, like we got to really build around our QB. effectively and not let injuries kind of decimate his career. I mean, because even a guy like Peyton Manning, Peyton Manning had a neck injury. He had, shoulder injuries. He had a long list of injuries that kind of, kind of led him to want to leave, Indianapolis even more. And you go ahead and you get Andrew Luck, a guy that should have been a generational talent. And his injuries, concussions, all that stuff kind of took a toll on his career as well. So I think them kind of losing both of those guys kind of woke that front office up.
Unfortunate that we didn't get to see the career of Andrew Luck pan out. I think he'd still be probably a top 10 quarterback, probably in that range with like Matthew Stafford and those guys. But let's continue on here. I'll go 2000s for 400. What were the brothers? Okay, well, what were the brothers that are both quarterbacks that are on the C and G?
CNG.
The Colts and Giants. Okay, well,
Yo, why didn't he just okay?
I apologize for the again, this goes to show you that I literally went out there, searched up NFL Jeopardy, and these were the first two boards that popped up. So just to avoid any cheating or allegations of whatever, this is the quality of board that we have chosen. But Amir, you're back up here, man. It's a kind of a race not to see who wins, but who gets the first one wrong.
I'll go and say 2010s for 400.
2010's 400, who had a brother in the NFL but retired and is a fullback. This one is probably the most difficult one yet, but we'll see what you have to say.
Who had a brother in the NFL but retired and is a fullback. So we're saying whose brother is retired but he's in the NFL right now. He's a fullback.
Yeah, so the player is currently in the NFL now. Uh, yeah.
Well, I mean, the only person I can think of that's a fullback and his brother is retired is Derek Watt, but TJ's still playing right now. Those are
Oh,
the
okay.
two
I'm
that
sorry. I didn't know if that was your answer. I'm sorry.
I know you good.
Yeah, but Derek Watt is the answer. One of the few fullbacks in the NFL today. Of course, Kyle Juszczyk is another guy in that conversation. Kyle Juszczyk is elite at the position. However, I'm back. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go straight for it. NFL 2000s. What linebacker was drafted in the 2010 draft and coached the Texans? That's D'Amico Ryan's very underrated career, I might add there for the Texans. Of course, we grew up playing with him, and now, of course, as a rookie head coach, leads his team not only to the playoffs, but they knock off the number one defense in the league in the first round. And then they give the Baltimore Ravens, the team that dominated all season, a run for their money in that divisional round. So D'Amico Ryan's great rookie year coaching. He might already be better as a coach than an NFL player, and that's not to disrespect his NFL career, but that just goes to show how great of a season he just had with the Texans in year number one. Amir, you're back up here.
I could go ahead and just go for 500, but
At this
honestly,
point, why not? I think those might be the only questions you have to think a split second about.
the 90s might get a little tricky, but I'm gonna still go 500 for 90s. This might get a little tricky.
What number is the best number for Cowboys wide receivers?
Oh, that's 88.
88. I apologize at home, but I guess we can go ahead and talk about these as we go on. I will go here to the NFL head coaches, and this is one I wish you would have got. Strictly for the fact that I don't know if you would have known this, but
It's
what team
crazy.
did Nick Saban coach before he went to Alabama? That is the Miami Dolphins. Of course, he was terrible in the NFL. Ended up going to college and became the greatest head coach in collegiate football history. So that is, of course, the Miami Dolphins. You're back up here. Where are you going? No
I'm gonna
more
go NFL
500s, by
coach.
the way. That should go to show you how easy this board was.
Yeah, yeah, so I'm gonna go NFL coaches for 400.
For 400, which coach was a rookie coach last season and made the playoffs with a 10-7 record?
So D'Amico was in year two, and there's only wait, what coach was a rookie coach last season and made the playoffs with a record of 10-7?
Now, I wouldn't overthink it if I were you.
Wait, D'Amico was in year two, wasn't he?
I don't know. That's something that you're gonna have to think about.
Or am I tripping right now? I think I'm tripping right now. It's really crazy because the first, of course, that popped in my mind was Steichen. I'm like, hold on, the Colts didn't make the playoffs,
Yeah, we're right there. They should have made the playoffs
right?
if the running back could catch the ball.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to think right now. So who the hell was a rookie coach last year that had a 10-7 record? Wasn't Green Bay, wasn't the Rams, not San Fran, wasn't the Cowboys. Um, what other playoff teams am I missing right now?
In the NFC, last year, of course, you still had the Eagles.
I said the
You had the
Eagles,
Tampa Bay
right?
Buccaneers.
Right.
And on the AFC side, it was Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami,
Miami,
Buffalo, of
Houston,
course, made the
Buffalo,
playoffs there, late season push. The Browns, Houston, and
and
the
yeah,
Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh,
Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Who the hell am I missing right now? Who was a rookie coach last year? I'm really about to get my first one wrong because I'm blanking right now.
I would help
It's
you, but
Yeah, it's really crazy. A few of my misses have all been like me blanking right now, so I can't think. Um, Honestly, I don't know. Wait, D'Amico was in year two. I'm pretty sure. I'm
what
gonna
I
say
would do is
D'Amico.
I would go with your best guess here.
The D'Amico Ryans.
It's D'Amico Ryans.
I don't know why. I don't know why I was thinking he was in year two.
Yeah, no, I just
Head coach.
I thought you heard me when I was talking about how great of a rookie season he had as a head
Oh
coach.
yeah, yes, yes. So wasn't he the assistant the year before?
Yeah, and then he took
That
over
makes
full
sense.
time.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay. NFL coach is 300. Bonus points. I'm not sure if that just means like I get double the points. We're just going to go as is the board is created. But who was the coach who created the Philly special? Of course, in 2018, when the Eagles won that Super Bowl, their head coach was not, of course, why am I drawing a blank now? It's not the coach that they currently have, the Nick Sirianni. There we go. But back then, their head coach was, what's his name? What's his name? Doug Peterson.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna go Doug Peterson here. I could picture him right with the visor on. I just couldn't remember. I could picture him in the Jacksonville. I just had to remember his first name. Of course, former NFL player there as well. All the big ones are pretty much off the board, but you're back up here.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 2000s for 300.
2000s, 300. Who was the quarterback in front of Tom Brady and got hurt? So, who was the quarterback in for the Patriots in 2000?
This was Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe, of course, would go on to a couple other teams and prove that he was just kind of a middle of the tier quarterback. So we'll go all with the 300s. The 1990s, who was the best cornerback on the Cowboys in the 90s? That is very tough. I think it's Shador Sanders. But oh, I'm just joking, of course. Deion Sanders, prime time. He played on, of course, a couple different teams as well. The Falcons, of course, the Niners, and of course, Dallas Cowboys, which is the most popular. Even though that might not have been his best football, that, of course, is up for debate. Deion Sanders also played for the Ravens, Amir. That's one of those weird jersey ones that we were talking about earlier,
Yeah, right.
late in his career. But I guess let's knock out these 200s.
Yes, I'll go ahead and go 2020s for 200.
We'll just go down the board here, man. What quarterback was just signed to the Atlanta Falcons?
Um, I want to say Matt Ryan came out of retirement. Kirk Cousins.
Matt Ryan. Yeah, well, honestly, I'm just going to continue to fly through these 200s. What two teams faced off in 2017 and is considered the greatest, the 2083 comeback? Of course, funny story, and I have proof to back this up. So if I remember, I'll throw it up here on the podcast. Back then when I was on Snapchat a lot more, I posted a story at halftime of that game, and I said, if there was anybody to come back from this lead, it would be the Patriots. And then the next snap, I said the Patriots are gonna come back from this, of course, and then history happened. But now again, that was one of those predictions that's like, if I get it wrong, who cares? Because they're already losing by 25 points. So it was definitely a cherry picked, I guess, praise for myself. For the 2000s, who was drafted in 2003 and is considered the best safety of all time. Hint, he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is he considered the best safety of all time? I don't think
I
so.
mean, yeah,
Maybe the
personally, I
greatest
would
hair of
choose,
all time.
yeah. I mean, personally, I would choose, probably a couple safeties over him, but it's Troy Polamalu.
Troy Polamalu, of course, had a lot of crazy plays in his career, with jumping over the Tennessee Titans offensive line there at the goal line. Of course, a lot of crazy plays in his career, but that he was definitely also the one-handed interception against the Chargers late in the
Yep.
season there. That was a crazy interception. One of the craziest I've ever seen. What number does Ray Lewis wear? The same number of cards that are in a deck of cards, or the same number of you guys get what I'm saying here. A deck of cards here. 52. Of course, one of the GOATs here in the game. But let's close out these 100s before we get out of here, Amir.
I'll go ahead and do 2020s for 100. We can just go on the line.
We'll just go down the line here. What team went for, of course, my thing is in the way here, so bear with me. What team went for a repeat Super Bowl in 2023 and 2024?
The Jackson Mahomes led Chiefs.
The Jackson Mahomes. Obviously, this is just a part of the podcast where we're just like throwing out things here. 2010s. What was the teams that what was the teams faced against each others to create the Minnesota? Uh,
Honestly, I'd say even though this is easy, like this is probably harder than like most of the ones down this list.
they are, which is weird, but as you can see here, big Drew Brees fan, signed football back there. So I'm just gonna take my points and leave it at that. How about that? We'll continue on here, Amir. What quarterback was drafted in 2000 and is considered the second greatest quarterback of all time? I kind of clicked on the answer there, but of course,
Tom
greatest quarterback
Brady.
of all time is the number 9 out of Purdue. Went to the Chargers for a couple years and made Sean Payton look like a relevant coach. But Tom Brady, of course, as we continue on here, the 90s. What running back was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys and created the big three in Dallas? See, these questions, I don't think that they're hard, obviously, but I think they're harder than some of the 400 and 500 questions that we had.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
But the big three, now of course this could be, I guess, do you consider, the big three of the 2010s, or do you consider, well, I guess this one's strictly about the 90s, which, that, of course, that was a dumb question. So, Amir, what running back was drafted out of Florida, but created a big three there in Dallas
Where running back was drafted out of Florida in the 90s?
in the 90s? All-time leading rusher in NFL history.
Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith.
But
Not
what's
that you
throwing me
needed
off
my
is
help.
but what's throwing me off is who's like the other two running backs that made the big three? It was Herschel Walker and
No,
Dorsett.
I think they're just saying the big three, as in Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the what's terrible. Of course, that's a legendary trio. Troy Aikman was a little bit overrated, but that's a different conversation for a different day. What's bad is the first trio that came to mind for Dallas was Tony Romo, Des Bryant, and I was thinking about Zeke Elliott down the line, but of course that wasn't really a trio. NFL coaches, well, D'Amico Murray or DeMarco Murray, if I can talk. I'm getting D'Amico Ryans and DeMarco Murray mixed up. DeMarco Murray should have been the big three over Zeke in that with Des Bryant and Tony Romo. Regardless, who's the current Chiefs head coach? Of course, the guy that's in all the commercials, Andy Reid. We'll leave it at that. There's no winner. There is no loser. We swept this board. Um, so I guess what we can do from here is just kind of wrap up the show and talk about next week, because those are actually going to be some pretty fun shows here for you guys. Now, I do want to say, by the time you're watching next week's show and the following week, the both of us, Amir will have his training camp going on. Of course, if you want to talk about that, you can. But then after that, I'm going to be in vacation. So some of these episodes are going to be recorded on the same day, just so you guys know. But next week, we have our preseason NFL power rankings. Should be tons of fun. And then after that, we're going to talk about potential Super Bowl matchups. And that, of course, is something that's been a tradition on this channel as we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. But Amir, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
not many. This board was pretty easy. The first one was kind of like a little iffy, because like some of those questions were like,
They were
you know,
worded and
yeah,
formatted very weird.
right. But shoot, I mean, it's a great episode. I'm excited. I'm really just waiting for the season to start. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm more excited for this NFL season than my actual season. I'm excited to watch football, so I'm ready.
Yeah, big year for you there at Siena Heights, of course. But that's gonna do it. We'll see you guys next week. But if this is your first time watching, enjoy your weekend. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys then.